Good morning. Welcome to Cleveland State University. I'm Karen Lanzo. I'm the director for the Center for E-Learning at Cleveland State. We're very honored to be hosting the Quality Matters Ohio Consortium's 7th annual member meeting today. We have an exciting day planned for you with a lot of great presentations and our 7 and 7 lunch presentation. Thank you in advance to everyone who is presenting today and for everyone really who submitted a proposal. We have a lot of great presentations today. As you can imagine, planning this type of event is a pretty big undertaking, and I'm very proud to say that the Center for E-Learning staff has really come together and pitched in, and everyone really played a role in putting this all together today. So I would like to take just a moment to recognize each of them. First, special thanks to Sarah Rutland, who is this year's annual member meeting chair, and she is also our lead QM coordinator. She's done an awesome, amazing job of making sure that every detail for this event is covered, and she has kept the rest of us on task. Also want to thank our e-learning graduate assistants and student employees, many of whom are at the registration table and greeted you this morning. Eliasar, Lizzie Hemes, Sammy Sheehan, and Sanjoy Singhai. And our e-learning staff members, you'll recognize us by the lime green shirts. Jacob Bowman, Heather Capret, Glenn Curtis, Sam Diamiti, Paul Carroll, Leanne Krosnick, Cliff Meslowski, Janet Racher, and Angie Williams. So thank you everyone for helping to put this together and for everything that you do all the time. Cleveland State University has a strong QM foundation. Quality Matters principles drive our instructional design practices and provide a benchmark for quality. We are continuously challenged through QM and just on a day-to-day basis to continuously improve our courses and programs, and that includes our processes for training and development and design. We've been able to do this in large part because of the unwavering support from CSU administration, really from the provost to vice provost to deans and department chairs. They've always supported our membership in QM and activities around that, like training faculty and staff. So we're extremely grateful for that. Today, Marius Bobach is here with us today. He is the Vice Provost for Academic Planning, and I'm especially grateful to have his guidance and support as our Vice Provost that oversees e-learning. He also oversees a number of additional areas at the university, including strategic planning, student learning assessment, academic program review, institutional research and analysis, and online learning. So with nothing further from me, I will introduce Dr. Bobach, Vice President for Academic Planning.
Thank you, Karen. And I noticed that I've been promoted to Vice President, so that's good. Welcome, everybody. It's my turn to welcome you to Cleveland and Cleveland State. In case you've been here before, welcome back. I hope some of you will notice some of the differences in our campus and in our city. And we're very proud of both of them. I came here in 2002 as a faculty member in the College of Education and Human Services, and I moved up the faculty ranks. I started teaching online in 1999 when I was doing my doctoral work in Iowa. And it was a fascinating experience to teach online back then. And once I got here, I got to learn the e-learning staff. And I remember in 2005, 2006, we got funding to push for an increase of our online presence through involvement of faculty in the design or redesign of our courses so that they could be delivered online. So we went through some of the growing pains associated with investing in the online infrastructure. And we're here now in 2019, very honored to host the QM annual meeting for the state of Ohio. And in preparation for the opening remarks this morning, I thought of what QM meant to me. behind that, what the design of online courses means to me as an instructor myself. And I did a quick lit review, and I came across one article in particular that spoke to me, and I think it could ground the conversations that you'll be part of today. So Baldwin, Ching, and Su, all three from Boise State University, published something, an article in Tech Trends last year, and they compared the different evaluative instruments that have state or national influence in terms of design of online courses. So they used 5 criteria. One is evaluating the design of online courses in higher ed, like I said, supporting student success, having a national or state influence. All of those evaluative tools should have been published after 2006 and still in use in 2018 when the article was published. So out of all of that analysis, they focused on 6 instruments. 2 of them come from California, one used in the community college system, the other one used in the Cal State system. One is QM, no surprise there. One is from Illinois, the online network. One is Blackboard, and the other one comes from the SUNY system in New York State. So out of all of that, there are some emerging themes that speak to the conversations we'll be having today, and I'll go over them quickly, some of them, not all of them, and then I'll make some references to how they relate to the QM work that we've been doing at CSU here, and I'm eager to hear some of the stories you have to share with us from your own respective institutions. So the emerging themes, these 6 evaluative instruments that have been used at the state and national level have these things in common. Objectives that have to be clear to students and to instructors and tied to everything else within the design of the course. Navigation should be student-friendly. Technology should be accommodating of student needs. Interactivity and communication patterns should be facilitative with an eye toward enhancing student learning. Assessment has to also touch on the summative components as well as the formative components. Clarity on those fronts too. Clear references to institutional services and accommodations that the online course and the institution itself, they both have to offer. And finally, course policies would have to be clear both to students and faculty. So with that preamble, going over the agenda, the proposed presentations, and thank you all for coming up with very relevant topics to share with us. The connections between these emerging themes that seem to govern the design of online courses in higher ed across the country and what you have to tell us from your own experience is enriching, and it gives me hope that we can propel QM as a standard set of principles that we can invest time and effort in so that we can engage faculty and instructional designers as content and design experts that would help our students learn better. Thank you, and I declare the session open. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Rutland. Karen and Marius gave us very welcoming, kind words this morning. I'm very delighted to be able to introduce to you Steve Kaufman, who is our chair of the Ohio QM Consortium. I think most of us assume that everybody knows who Steve is, but I wanted to make sure that those of you who may not know that he is our chair. He's a great leader who's been doing lots of work. You may see him hiding behind a camera at some points in the day, but you also see him bouncing around. He's a great resource, so we're delighted to invite him up to the podium now.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Awesome. I am so excited every year when I get to come up here and see the room get larger and larger and larger. It's a wonderful feeling to be involved in QM Ohio and just to see kind of the ranks of individuals that are dedicated to quality online learning. It's a big deal. And I really applaud you all for being here today, for taking an entire day, and probably real close to your final exam time. So whether you're on the support side of the house answering tickets and assisting your faculty, or whether or not you're faculty in the room prepping all those things, thank you for spending the day with us. I cannot express my appreciation enough. Every year we like to kind of give an idea of where we are as a consortium, and I think that's an important thing to kind of understand what you're getting out of your membership and the growth that we're seeing for quality online courses within the state of Ohio. The thing I always like to talk about is there's a lot of us in the room. There's 60 institutions strong. Some leave, some come back later. We've got new additions this year that have just joined the consortium, and welcome to all of you as well. But it's very hard to make a slide like this because there's a lot of logos out there, right? And hopefully I got your most recent one up there. But the amount of expertise that's in this room sitting here right now should not be understated. So I know that this is going to be a jam-packed day full of really great insights from a lot of wonderful presenters. So thank you to all of you who are presenting and sharing your knowledge with us today. We had a really wonderful 2018 to 2019. From last May to this May is kind of when we do the count. We've had 66 additional courses within the state of Ohio receive QM recognition. If you're one of the faculty members that put up your course for review, would you please stand up and be recognized? Hey, we got one. There we go. Awesome. Great job. You are one of those 66. Thank you so much for being here today. That's wonderful. And of those 66 courses, that was across 15 institutions across the consortium. So that's really wonderful to see. These are all of the faculty members. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked a little fast. There we go. Oh, it's auto-advancing. Okay, real quick snap. And I won't touch. Okay. So these are all of the course representatives that we have recognized on there. So even if they're not in the room, let's give them a big round of applause because it is a huge endeavor to do that. If there was just one more name, we would have just had to lose someone right there, just had to chop them off. Okay, so let's go. Maybe I aim this direction. That's a really current list. It's a very current list. I pulled the data last night. Sarah will know she got a 9:56 p.m. email from Steve. I'm usually burning the midnight oil, right? We've actually increased the number of course review managers within the state up another 32% in just 1 year. These are individuals that you should definitely utilize as resources to help make your course review process much, much smoother. They have kind of that extra training. We have 101 QM coordinators across the 60 institutions. 31 institutions have conducted a QM review since 2008. It's roughly half of our consortium, which is really fantastic. We have 65 active master reviewers in the state right now, and I say active master reviewers because if you haven't updated your role application lately, make sure to do that. You people who are in the suspended status, I know who you are, and I will find you. I have a very particular set of skills. Okay, so active peer reviewers, we have 231, and we actually have increased 75% in program certifications, certification reviewers in the state, went from 8 to 14. So we know what's happening. We know that there's a lot of institutions that are interested in having entire programs certified, and our state has kind of really positioned itself well to be able to leverage the expertise that we have because of those certifications. So I applaud all of you. For those of you that sought that certification, you will be in high demand shortly if you're not already amongst all the different institutions, so thank you. We've actually increased quite a bit on our number of facilitators within the state, and as we all know, it's the facilitators that spread the word about QM. If you are a QM facilitator, would you please stand and be recognized? Awesome. Thank you guys so much, guys and gals. You're the ones that really that get QM in front of faculty's eyes and explain it in a way that's non-confrontational and that is really reassuring to faculty that there's a support model out there for them, and I applaud you for that. Thank you. You can see that we've had a 71% increase there, 19% respectively, on APP QMR and IYOC facilitators. In terms of how many people in the state have actually completed professional development, whether it's just a one-off workshop that you took on a particular standard, or if you went through an actual 2 or 3 week training online or face-to-face, we're up to little over 8,600 individuals within the state since we started counting back in 2008 as a consortium. That's incredible, a 9% increase from just last year. So we're using the resources that QM provides us, and I think that's fantastic. The all-time number of registrations that we've had overall is 12,535. So we are definitely utilizing the resources that QM National provides to us. We're deeply appreciative of the partnership that we have with them and their guidance for all of these things. But it's wonderful to see numbers like that because we know that what we're doing out in the field is working, that we are able to advance the mission of quality online course design. And it's all because we have individuals in the room that help promote this and get this in front of faculty members' eyes. So thank you again. In terms of how we're doing, kind of the state consortium numbers, QM recognized courses since 2008 were just under 400. But I just got a whole bunch of bartering requests in my email last week, so that number I can confident to say is over 400 now, so that is amazing. We are the largest consortium in the world. I can say that because QM is an international organization. And so that is not a small number by any means. That is a wonderful thing to communicate, and bring that number back to your campus. That's a really good thing to talk about. Bartered reviews, we are up to 184 bartered reviews as of last night. And again, that'll probably tick up a little bit here when I run the numbers at the end of the month of May. But that's $184,000 in savings that we were able to do through being able to share reviewers amongst our institutions. So I would say our bartering system is working as well. Now, last year at the State of Consortium, we had announced the QM Year of Review. And we set a very lofty goal for ourselves, which was to see how many campuses we could have conduct an internal or official QM review within 1 year. That's a very lofty ambition, right? I mean, that's a very heavy lift for a lot of institutions, especially since a lot of our institutions, there's one person that's managing the learning management system and instructional design and tech support, and you may have to fix a printer occasionally. It's hard, right? So how did we actually do at the end of the year? We actually had 100 reviews in 1 year. So yes, thank you, Bethany. That's awesome. 100 reviews in 1 year. I'd like to think that was because of the year of review, but you probably were already going to do those anyway, because that's such a good thing to do. 48 of those reviews were internal reviews. I believe that 44 of them were subscriber managed, so within our subscriber management pool. We had 6 QM reviews managed by QM National, and we had 2 subscriber-managed recertifications. The consortium has now been around long enough that a lot of us are in the camp of, oh, I have to get a lot of my courses recertified. So when you need guidance on that, please reach out to your course review managers on your campus, or our consortium executive team can assist you with this. Bethany can assist you with this as well. Send all emails to Bethany. She's at B7. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. There we go. In the QM Year of Review, from last May to this May, we've had 19 institutions in 1 year engage with QM. So roughly a third of our consortium has done this, which is fantastic. It's not 100%. I'd love to see us get there, and which is why we are going to do some additional things to help spur that happening. We announced, I think, probably in the summer of last year, that we were going to really heavily invest in professional development for our consortium members. And as a part of that, we had announced that we were going to do a $600 spend, $36,000 across the entire consortium, and that you'd be able to leverage those funds to get your courses or get your faculty members either becoming peer reviewers, master reviewers, having a course review manager on your campus, having a facilitator on your campus. We've done a lot of webinars about this. Every campus is a little bit different, and depending on where you are in your implementation plan, that's really going to affect how you choose to spend those dollars. But what I can tell you is that there have been 52 requests for professional development across 26 institutions just through this initiative alone. So I'm very, very pleased as to where it's going. But what I can also tell you is that we still have $24,000 left to spend, which means we're going to extend the year of review. Bethany and I refer to it as the QM years of review, right? And you actually have up until the next annual member meeting to continue spending the allocation that we have for your particular campus. At some point at the end of summer, we're going to release the unreleased funds to other institutions that maybe are just, you're right under the mark, you spent 500 of the 600, and I really want to get that peer reviewer certification, those funds might be available for you. So we're going to look at where we are at the end of summer, because we know a lot of faculty members, when they're not teaching full load during the semester, will actually have some bandwidth. And of course, you as well will have some bandwidth, hopefully, to utilize some of the QM professional development. So you'll have until May of 2020 to utilize that. In the part of the QM years of review, remember that behind the scenes we've been doing a lot of needs assessment. We've had a lot of meetings as the executive team to figure out what do we need to provide in terms of need for all of the institutions, and professional development was one of them, certainly. Developing resources, we have 2 awesome handbooks. They're just about done. They're going to be on the website shortly, which it's probably 20, 30 pages long, right, of just jam-packed full of information about how to manage a course review, how to ramp up QM at your particular institution. We've had a lot of people and a lot of eyeballs looking at this, so hopefully that will serve as a wonderful guide for all of you and moving your campus forward with your QM implementation. We're trying to pull together a roadshow where you'll have a regional representative and you'll have the state leads that are either willing to WebEx, Zoom, come to your campus and actually do a site visit, and talk to your administrators, talk to your faculty members to answer the tough questions. There's a breakout session later today about answering tough questions about QM. Plug, plug. There we go. So if that's of interest to you, let us know. So also trying to bring clarity and answer some of the misconceptions that some people may have about QM. That's definitely something that we've tried to work on a lot as a state. I really want to thank our 3 new executive board members. Please stand to be recognized. Amy Grinswitz from Kent State, Anne Marie Hodges from Chamberlain, and Nicole Williams from Findlay. Please stand to be recognized. Thank you so much for taking the time to dedicate hours out of your day. This is a 100% volunteer organization, which is what makes this organization so amazing. And it's really different from other states because of that. A lot of them have a state agency that manage all of QM for the state. And we're really unique. We're like the purple unicorn. So what's kind of cool about that, someone got that joke. So the idea of having you really spend time to join the board really is very, very deeply appreciated, because I know it's a lot of work on top of everything that's already on your plate. Also want to have a special appreciation and thank you go out to Sarah Rutland, who put together this wonderful meeting along with her entire Cleveland State staff and the support team. Please, big round of applause for them. Thank you so much for being a gracious host. We normally say the big thank you at the end of the day, but I know it's going to be a phenomenal day, so I feel confident saying that up front. We're good. Okay. A couple reminders. This is for just a couple things that people have asked me to remind. If you have any role changes at your institution, you can find this on the QM Ohio website. Let us know that someone changed. And also remember that you're going to receive an email from Suzanne Patzer very shortly about renewing for 2019-2020, and that should be coming very shortly. So if you don't see that, if this is Greek to you, email Suzanne or contact your local regional representative or QM coordinator, and we can get you in touch with the right people. So let's continue to build on the success that we already have, and remember that the strength of our consortium is all of you. It's all of you in the trenches doing the work every single day that make great courses. And I cannot applaud this consortium enough. So thank you for your dedication to QM, and have a wonderful day.
So to piggyback off of what Steve said, I'm always telling people that what makes Ohio such an amazing consortium is the people who are in this room and the amount of wealth and knowledge that we gain from one another. So we're really excited to have you here, to be hosting you today. There are many old friends and many hopefully new friends and faces that will get to know each other as we're together today. So I really encourage you to dig in and make the most of the event as we're here together. I'm going to do a little bit of logistics with you, and then we're going to start out with a poll, but let me do the logistics first. So you all have your folders that came in your bags that you got from the registration table. You'll see you've got the program in there with some information, the handouts. I believe everyone knows there were raffle tickets in the back of your name badge. There's a raffle table out there. We really want your feedback because we love feedback, right? So the evaluations that are in your folder, when you turn those in at the end of your session, you will receive a new raffle ticket. So that is your way to earn raffle tickets throughout the day that you can spend at the raffle table, which we will announce at the end of the day who wins all of our wonderful prizes. Other logistics, the bathrooms are on the main hallway that you walk down from the elevator. Our breakout rooms, 3 of them are across the hall. A, B, and C are right here across the hall. The 5th floor Viking Loge is upstairs, so you have to go back down to the elevator. There are stairs next to the elevator as well. And the elevator on the left is an express elevator. So if it saves you any time, you can snag that one. But if you go up or down, you've got options there as well. If you have any questions, as you know, there's lots of people in bright green shirts. We'd be happy to fill you in and make sure you know where you're going or what's going on. But we're really excited, as I said, to have you and to really dive into what we've got going on today. So I wanted to start out with a poll. So if you guys have your phones, because everybody has a mobile phone, right? So if you'll pull out your phone, and can you go back just so we can see the number you have to text, you have to create a new text log. Sometimes we get this backwards. To number 2233. That's the 333. That's the phone number that you're sending this text to. Number 22333. And then you send the words QM Ohio 293. That should sign you up for the poll. You should get a little confirmation message back that says you're now enrolled in the poll. So I'll give you a second. So once you get it, can I get like a head nod or a wave? Everybody feels good? That was easy. Awesome. Okay. So let's go to the next one. So we can do that first one. We have time. So if you want to, as I mentioned, I feel like the strength of who we are is who's in the room. So it's kind of nice to know who's with us. So let us know based on, all you have to do is send A, B, C, or D. And your reply should show up on the screen up here. Looks like we're very heavy staff and faculty so far. I know there's a couple students in the room. They may not be doing the poll, but there's a few. And we have some other guests with us. We're also excited to have you here as well. I definitely encourage you to talk with the people at your tables. You'll notice there's a few random topics on some of the tables that you sat at this morning. Really, it was a chance for you to get to know some other people if you wanted to meet some new faces. So I encourage you to take advantage of that time that you have today as you're with one another. It's still going. Looks like we got most of our responses. Yeah, so let's go on to the next one. So now I want to ask you, in your folders, I didn't mention this card that was in the front of your evaluations. This is just a little keepsake for you to make some notes on throughout the day that we'll come back to and touch base on as we're together here in the main session. But I want to ask you to think about what are your biggest challenges that you face in your current role, your institution, whether you're teaching or whether you're staff or if you're a student, whatever role you might have. You can just type the word in the same text log and it'll show up in a word cloud on the screen. Good. Never enough time, yeah. Lots of good ones. Funding. Buy-in, that's a good one too. So many things. Deadlines, having enough staff. Lasagna. I know there's someone here that loves lasagna. Not enough lasagna? Or too much lasagna. We're sleeping in the afternoon? What's going on? Lots of things. Resources, pancakes. You guys are a hungry group of people here. Maybe there's more food coming, I promise. There'll be lots of food today. So this is a pretty good, looks like time is a really big issue for all of us. I think I certainly identify with that as we're coming to the end of planning the consortium meeting and juggling my own regular workload plus managing kind of getting us on track to where we need to be for today. So I think we all can identify with just the balance and the juggle that is. Lots and lots of good things. So I want you guys to kind of keep this in mind. Like, what's your biggest challenge? As you're thinking on a personal level, and maybe collective for on behalf of your institution, but it may be specific to you. So I'm going to challenge you to start off the day for all of you to apply your Quality Matters skills. And I'm going to challenge you to write an objective for what you would like to get out of today. What's something you're looking to take away before you leave at the end of the day? It might be to connect with a colleague. It might be to gain some information from that one particular session that looks really interesting that I want to learn more about what they're doing. I really want to steal somebody's idea, whatever it might be. Take a couple minutes to write it out on your card, what your objective for today is, what you're looking to take away for today. I'll give you just another minute to finish up writing. Hang on to your cards. We'll come back to these later after lunch. So as we wrap up now, for sake of time, I want to release you off to the next breakout sessions. As you'll see in the agenda, we have 2 breakouts back to back, and then we meet back here at 11:30 for lunch. So go, enjoy, and we'll see you soon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you all are able to get lunch and are enjoying your food. We're going to begin our lunchtime program, which we've titled 7 for 7. So we have 7 speakers who are going to share their perspective of how Quality Matters has impacted them personally. So we hope that you will identify with each of them in your own way and learn from their story. So I'm going to turn things over to Marius, and he will get us started.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, everyone, again for joining us while you're still enjoying food or coffee, or just you're done eating and you're just enjoying the conversation. The point of this series of personal narratives related to QM and the how it impacted our professional practice, represented by the different roles that we play, and we'll elaborate on that, I think really augments the conversations we had in the morning, and also they touch on some of the items will be discussed in the session following the lunch 7 for 7. And then as you go home, you can really identify a number of things or a number of great ideas that you would want to implement on your respective campuses. Without further ado, let me introduce to you Cheryl Hansen, who played an important role in state leadership, working with the Ohio Board of Regents and Ohio Learning Network.
Good afternoon, and I hope you've been enjoying your lunch and each other and the sessions that you've done so far. And I'm here to start telling you a little bit about what I have done and what I believe in, and what I know that you also believe in, our students. And do they get what they deserve? Have they gotten quality? And how can we ensure that that happens? That's been part of what the Ohio group has always wanted. And it's later on, a little later on, I'll talk about how we merged up with the Maryland Online FIPSI grant work that we were ready to do when the time came. And so I think I would say to myself and to you that I probably created the nest that eventually the birds came to, put a lot of eggs in, and here you all are. So in about 2000, I'm starting us there. Now I've got to get my little, yeah. So we get to 2000, and actually, you may remember, some of you, that we thought in the world that in 2000 we were going to just evaporate because of the technology that was coming on, and it didn't happen. So we were here, and we were beginning to work on and decide whether in Ohio, and the Board of Regents and their trustees, whether or not we would have one digital university, or anyone that wanted to, who was accredited in any college here in the state, could do distance learning. And at that time, I describe it all as the wild, wild west of distance learning. There were few people that understood what it was. We had things happening in California. We had MIT doing the open courseware. There were a lot of things happening before the year of 2000. But it was in 2000 that the Ohio Board of Regents decided that we would go ahead and go on with distance learning. The problem was, as you know, no one knew what to do. They didn't know the technologies. They weren't sure what was supposed to be done. They didn't understand it, and they needed a lot of professional development. And so the Board of Regents decided that they'd create a small organization that would be the support group to help students start to deal with technologies, and faculty also. And so they created an organization called the Ohio Learning Network, and it started in 2000 in Columbus, and it expanded to every state institution and anyone that wanted to work within it. And in that, on the years from about 2000 into about 2005, the professional development was just absolutely fantastic in this state. For the first time I'd ever seen any institution not get enough money to do some help in order to do the professional development needed to begin thinking about how do we do distance learning well. The questions we asked were very similar to what Maryland Online did, as you know, and we'll talk a little bit about that, because they were working through how do we have quality courses? How can we assure ourselves that we do? A lot of that was built up in the years of the Ohio Learning Network to be sure that people knew one another, knew how to do this work, and basically be able to do a fine job. Now, Brenda Boyd is one of the people in the state of Ohio that plays a very, very rich role in this. She knew what was going on in Maryland Online. They had gotten a FIPSI grant. You probably all know about that. And basically, they figured out how we could identify what a course could be if it was quality, and a peer review process had to mix up with that. And so for years, we worked on that, and we did whatever we could to ensure courses were there and able to be quality. And the people who are working on it, and that you all have done an amazing job of this. And about 2010, when things were going really well, the Board of Regents ended the Ohio Learning Network, and we handed over all of what had been done and to the people who cared a lot about Steve, basically, and a lot of people in the Akron area, protected all of the professional development so that we could continue the work that was happening. We had probably 3,000 to 4,000 people go through professional development, and when Maryland Online came up with the rubric, we were ready to grab it. And there were, in about 2008, campuses that were using all of these tools we got from them, and basically all was fine. And you've been taking over from that 2008 experience and the end of the Ohio Learning Network, and the politics of that that's a part of it. So anyway, I just want you to understand how hard the state has get everything ready in line to work with the students and to do what we needed to, and you are doing it right now. I have about a minute here, and for me personally, I had worked in education all of my life and had a high appreciation for teachers, faculty, people in education, and basically you have created this world of Quality Matters here in Ohio, the best organization for Quality Matters as far as a state in the country. We have been coordinating with Quality Matters for years, and they have with us. So Steve has done a wonderful thing in leadership and helping all of you do what you know you need to do. And I really want to appreciate you, Steve, for this transition, because we just were there one day, and one day we were gone, and nothing stopped. Everyone moved forward, and everything needed to happen continued. And that's my time right now. And I wish you well. I wish you much love, my favorite song. And you love your work, you love your students, and just keep on, and it's all the right work. And I never realized how powerful this was, and it is truly powerful. Thank you for your time, and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, for the overview of how we transitioned to where we are today, and hoping that we can use the talent in the room and the talent that you are connected to on your campuses to continue the QM tradition. Speaking of personal narratives, Lizzie Hammis, a graduate student at Cleveland State, is our next. Sorry. My mistake. I was looking at the wrong page. Miriam Abbott, a faculty member at Mount Carmel College of Nursing, is the next person to share with us a personal account of QM and what that means to her.
Well, he gave me such a nice introduction, so I don't have to worry about that part of talking to you. Whoa, I thought it would have a cover page. Okay, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what it's like as a faculty member to be presented with a QM rubric. And I can tell you this was my first response, slightly misrepresented because I didn't have a font any bigger than this, and I didn't have any bigger question marks or exclamation points or emoticons to express extreme alarm. So like a lot of faculty members, even when we've already bought in and we agree, this is a good program for us, we need to do this. When you first get that rubric, your first response is, this is a lot of stuff. My class is a masterpiece as it is. I'm not sure why I need to do all of this stuff. But then once you get past that phase, you find if you have a good supportive environment that you can get some tools to help you develop that class to make it align with the QM standards. So for us, that meant we had templates that helped us make all of the Start Here section work well for our students, and we had accessibility things we could cut and paste into our courses, made it very easy for us to succeed when we went up for QM review. The next thing I needed, once I had my tools, is I needed some support. And for me, support means someone that will answer my emails at 4 a.m. on Sunday, because I like to work all the time, and when I'm not working, do you know what I like to do? I like to worry about things, some things that maybe other people have never thought of. So there's a lot of emails, and I would suspect that any administrator who has led faculty group through a QM certification process will say, there's a lot of emails. But you want an administrator who's patient with you, and sometimes they have to say, I think that's something you're not going to need to worry about, because just hearing that can make a big difference. They don't have to solve all your problems. Sometimes they can just tell you, that's not a problem. Also, one of the happy endings, one of the nice outcomes about having a more student-centered QM course is that you start to get curious about these things you're learning. So one of the interesting things for me about QM was that it had to back up all of their claims. It was that I had to have these navigation things on my class site because there was reason to believe that would actually help students. They'd actually researched on students. I had never researched on students. I'm a philosopher. I just know my content. I don't know anything about talking to students other than what I've developed over years of teaching philosophy. So to find that there was data on how to talk to students better made me think, what else can I learn? So I started asking the internet a whole bunch of questions on how I could, honestly, how I could become more manipulative and make my students do what I wanted them to do. And as a result of that, I have gained an immense education vocabulary. I don't actually know what anything on the screen means. I use an education jargon generator, but I do have some words for you today. And you may know the meanings of some of them, some you may not. Nudge theory has been my very most favorite thing for the last 2 years. Have any of you ever heard of nudge theory? Some of you? So yeah, because my boss has, because those are the emails I send her now, Sunday mornings at 4 a.m. when I find new things. If you Google nudge theory or behavioral insights and the IRS, for example, you'll find that we're all being controlled all the time. They know all kinds of awesome ways to motivate people to do things. For example, I don't know if you got your electric bills this summer, but my electric bill would always say something like 90% of people in a house like yours pay half as much per month because they're efficient. Okay. And do you know how that makes you feel? It makes you feel like turning off the air conditioner and doing everything that you can to save energy. And then when we did, then we get things that said, for 50% of people do better than you. It didn't matter how much better we did, we would get these little nudges all the time. But once you learn about these nudges, you realize there's a lot of things like that you can use on your students. Like 90% of the students who do well on this exam studied at least a week out and read the entire textbook, right? So you start sending little, you look it up. It is the best thing in the world. And that's why, it's sustained my interest for 2 years. Thalheimer model is an alternative to Bloom's model. So as somebody who didn't pursue an academic career in education, right? I pursued it in philosophy. I came to Bloom late in life and how to teach using Bloom late in life. And sort of thought, okay, that's an interesting theory. Thalheimer is a workforce development model of teaching. It's very interesting, but also very effective. So it starts with the idea that you have valid, credible content, and then you have an engaging way of communicating it, and then it talks about different levels of support. So you support understanding for that content, you support questions about that content, and coolest of all, you support independent research into that content. So it's just a different way of looking at how to promote learning. Super interesting to me. Is there anything else interesting I have? Desirable difficulties. Have you heard of those? They're fantastic. Okay, so this is, see, all this education stuff that I shouldn't know anything about, but I do because of QM. So desirable difficulties are what make people learn more effectively. My best example is kind of old school. If you give me a page of notes to study and I study them, and you give my friend a bunch of flashcards to study and she studies them, she'll learn the flashcard content faster than I will learn what's on the page. Why? Because the answers are already on the page and I don't have to think for a minute. But if you give it on a flashcard, they get only half the information and they have to think about the other half to get it. That's a desirable difficulty. It stimulates learning. So one of the things I like to think about in developing my class is what are online ways, right? Because that's the convenient classroom. So how do you introduce a desirable difficulty into a convenient classroom? Formative assessments, that's my last new thing, and that's one that's probably familiar for many people in the QM community because I think it's used a lot, but it's a new word for me, and that's the idea of giving people low stakes quizzes and tests, or maybe no stakes quizzes and tests so they can see for themselves how they're doing, and it is sort of a form of desirable difficulty, right? Because they don't have the answers in front of them, they have to reason through and practice knowing things. As a result, you'll find that faculty, once exposed to QM, will start wanting to go to conferences, and do you know what they're going to want to talk about? Full circle. So that takes us to today. Oh my gosh, okay, here we go.
Thank you, Miriam. I think I just realized we're kindred spirits. For me, it's not so much work-life balance; it's work-worry balance. So, the next person on narrative comes from Patty Brown, an instructional designer at Stark State College.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the Ohio Committee for allowing me the opportunity to share my story of how I found the missing link. As an instructional designer at Stark State College, I have the opportunity to work almost every day with faculty designing courses. And I've noticed a couple things over the years. First of all, we both come to the table with the same idea. We want to create a fabulous course, well-designed based on national standards of best practices. But I've also noticed that we tend to go on two separate paths on our journey toward that fabulous course. And even more importantly, I think we have two different ideas of evaluating whether we have indeed reached our goal of a fabulous course. Now, I've used the QM rubric always in my discussions with faculty, usually at the very beginning, overview, and then of course at the end as I'm evaluating the courses. But I've always been looking for that missing link, that piece of the puzzle where I could gather us together at the beginning, and it would help us guide the conversation and put us on a shared path toward our common goal of a fabulous course. And then about 5 months ago, I found the missing link. I attended a Developing a QM Culture During Course Design QM webinar by Stella Porto. And she had the most revolutionary idea that I have ever heard. And for me, it was a game changer, and it was the missing link. And it was a concept called QM for Design. It's a very simple but innovative approach, and it's simply organizing the Quality Matters rubric based on the design process. To me, this was revolutionary. And so I took all the information that she gave, and I studied it, and then I kind of put her stuff aside, and I created my own monstrous worksheet that I can work with faculty. And to me, this is now the missing link that I can use as I guide faculty in the process of designing their course, because we can design and work toward the standards at the same time. Now, when I was looking at the rubric, what I did is I created this worksheet, and I have tabs across the bottom based on the design process. Or I have a tab for the introduction and objectives. And then what I did is I took the general and specific standards, and I strategically moved them onto the tab that made most sense. Now, at first, I felt like I was tearing apart a sacred document by moving things. But honestly, it didn't slow me down at all, because I knew that this was a really revolutionary product for me, and I knew it would, I was hoping at least that it would help faculty. And I have a couple slides I'd like to show of what this looks like, a little bit of what it looks like. So as you can see on the bottom, I have tabs across the bottom where we have the course overview and introduction. And then what I can do is I can have strategic conversations with faculty as we're meeting the standards. And you'll notice that they're a little bit out of order. I have general standard 1, 3, 6, 7, but they're based on the principle of what we're doing right at that moment. And I can have very intentional conversations about learning objectives, where I can talk to the faculty and say, okay, let's look at your course learning objectives and how are they aligning with your weekly learning objectives. And I can have intentional conversations, not just, yeah, I think they align. I actually ask them to show me how they align. And we can use this worksheet to guide the process of designing courses. And to me, the best part of this worksheet is at the end, I have a final checklist that is in the exact order of a regular QM rubric. But again, this is, we're 3 or 4 months in the process, and I can sit down with the faculty and we know exactly where we are in the process. The IPs, trying to always be encouraging that if we haven't met that standard, then we talk about why have we not met that standard. It's in progress. And I like to show it as green because it's a positive. We're moving toward meeting that. And my goal, of course, would be that the course would meet all of the standards. And I've always wanted to reward faculty and for courses that have done a good job. So now with a document that I can show and I can hand off, I've been able to reward faculty for coursework. And we designed a couple badges that we're doing internally, where I can give out excellence in course design. We have a Web 2, which is our hybrid, and our Web 3 is fully online. And so I get to give badges out now, and who doesn't like a badge? And I've been actually surprised at the responses of faculty really are encouraged by these. It's a little bit of a recognition. And even more importantly for me, I have the ability now, I have 9 courses in just 4 months that I feel comfortable now that I can send forward for an official QM review. Now, I have seen, just again, in 4 months that I've been doing this, a culture change. Our provost is on board. Our dean's on board, our department chairs are on board. But what about the faculty? Because, you know, we all know they're the most important. So let me give you a couple quotes of some that I've been working with. Its biggest kudo was securing measures of assignment to objectives as it provided a retrospective review of the course contents. And another faculty, I found it to be a helpful tool to ensure that my course objectives, learning outcomes, and assessments were aligned. I know now with certainty moving forward that my course is well designed and that students will have a positive learning experience taking my course. And then finally, the use of the worksheet was a great benefit for helping me align the course objectives, the unit objectives, and the assignments. At first I was skeptical, but after completing my first new course using the worksheet, I'm 100% on board. These are the conversations now that I can have, very intentional conversations as we're designing and meeting standards at the same time. I do have the ability and permission from National Quality Matters to share this worksheet if anybody's interested. I did ask them if it was okay because, again, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to move the standards into the area that I wanted, and they gave me the thumbs up and said they thought it was a great idea. We've been using it, like I said, for 4 months. And really, faculty are on board, and it's been a real culture change as we're moving forward. And personally, I'm excited now about QM more than I ever have been before because I have this tool now that's going to allow me to guide the conversation and move us toward our goal of creating a fabulous course. Thanks.
Thank you, Patty. Our next personal narrative comes from Dr. Sajid Zakaria. He goes by Zach, who's a Dean of the College of Education and Human Services here at Cleveland State University.
Thanks, Marius. First, welcome to all of you to CSU. I've been at CSU as the Dean of the College of Education for the last 9 years, but previously at the University of Akron. And so, hi to all my folks from the University of Akron there. So, yeah. Anyways, one of the things that in my role as an administrator, it's my probably biggest fear when it comes to moving courses in an online environment, that the faculty is not present. Okay, faculty not being present in a particular course, or like what I did 20 years ago when I first started my online class, or put together my online class. I just moved all my PowerPoint presentations to an online environment. And that's, as an administrator, that is probably my biggest fear, that happens. Today, when we talk about, as an administrator, the things we are talking about are enrollment. We are worried about engagement, student engagement, but we are living in a time, for example, previously, students mostly took online classes at a university that was close to them. Very similar to how we did banking, okay? We did online banking, but when we started online banking, we always picked a bank that was close by, so that you could always go to that bank when we had trouble. That's good for my generation. For the kids that are coming into our programs today, undergraduate students and so on, they have grown up with technology, they are comfortable with technology. They are the ones that are banking where there's no brick and mortar facility even close to them. Okay? They are comfortable in universities that are fully online and may not be even in their state. Okay? The data used to show that students used to take classes with universities close by. But as an administrator, as we look forward, we have to start being prepared that students will switch if that class is not an engaging class. Okay? And so as we move into this environment, this is where I believe that standards like QM and so on are absolutely critical if we want to move forward. Okay? If we don't hook into these types of standards, whatever they are, you know, I'm in education, and so I'm accredited by education, by counseling, but the reason for that is to make sure that students have a good experience, that they graduate with the right skills, okay? And that's what standards help us to do in many ways. As an administrator, I'm always worried about the various challenges that we have. One of the biggest challenges is to incentivize faculty in some way. Okay. My worry is that increasingly with fewer and fewer resources that we have as universities, that may not be possible. Today, we cannot rely on the fact that as faculty, that enrollments alone are going to be a sufficient incentive to get courses into a particular standard or particular quality. We used to previously use course load or reduce course load, incentives during summer for faculty to move their courses either online at first, but today to incentivize them to get QM certified and so on. What I don't know is whether that's going to be possible, and how it is as a community we figure out solutions to incentivize faculty to get their get their courses into a particular standard. We need to think about how it is, for example, that QM can be integrated into our promotion and tenure standards. Okay? As administrators, that is absolutely critical. We have, for example, at CSU, one thing we have done, for example, is that we are giving merit awards for teaching But in deciding how those merit awards are given, QM is one among various factors. Okay? That we are giving merit, therefore, for faculty to move courses to get certified QM and so on, or whatever they might be. So this is the kind of thinking that as a community we need to start identifying ways in which we can get our faculty to accept this work first, and then put in the effort to move towards this. Again, it is something that you have to get buy-in from your administrators at the very top, okay, from your presidents and the provosts and so on, so that they understand the true benefit of the work that this community is doing. I applaud you for the great work that all of you have done. I have so many of our faculty in the college that have gone through the process, and I continue to figure out ways to try and support their work. And again, I have to end by saying kudos to our e-learning center here at CSU. They do rock, so thanks so much.
Thank you, Zach. Now it's truly Lizzie's time. Lizzie Hemis, a graduate student at Cleveland State University.
Good afternoon. So there is a common expression that I'm sure most parents have heard. Parent is a child's first teacher. Well, in my mother's case, she was an educator both personally and professionally. She has taught special education for nearly 2 decades. So growing up, learning was always ingrained in our household. There were no teachable moments. It was a teachable life. For example, every time we went to the grocery store, for every item on our list, my mom would ask me to calculate the unit price of all of the items. Mind you, this was in a time before smartphones, so it was a task. As I got older, she made the decision-making process even more challenging. She would ask questions such as, how do we factor in taste, personal preferences, and quality? And I'm sure we all know that Marshmallow Mateys has a lower unit price. And no disrespect to Marshmallow Mateys, but are the added savings really worth the decrease in quality? These were the types of questions that I had to answer. And although they may seem mundane or silly, they do encourage critical thinking. Learning through these methods has definitely influenced me as a professional and as a student. I have taught children about chemical reactions around a campfire. I have during basketball practice. I am a proponent of diversity in education, of diversity in instructional materials, activities, and strategies. As a graduate student at CSU in the Educational Research and Assessment Program, I know that I gain a deeper, more meaningful understanding of concepts when my teachers present ideas through a variety of ways, using a variety of tasks, asking us to complete a variety of challenging things. So how does my appreciation for alternative teaching strategies relate to Quality Matters? Become familiar with Quality Matters through my work as a graduate assistant at the Center for E-Learning here at CSU. After reading the rubric the first time, I felt a sense of relief. So often when we think of standards, we think of them as restrictive. They become checklists of what has to be included, a cutoff point for what is and what is not acceptable, and justification for a limited use of instructional materials or strategies. With QM, however, I see the standards as a framework for instructional innovation, meant to encourage the use of different technologies and strategies. In this way, I felt excited after reading the rubric, excited to see how instructors could incorporate creativity in their course designs. I see standards 4.5, 5.2, and 6.2 as the foundation of this innovation. These standards are meant to push educators to incorporating an assortment of technologies, of drawing from multiple course materials, and creating a variety of learning activities. What's more, QM ensures that instructors pursue this innovation with purpose. Variety is not encouraged for its own sake. Instructional materials and activities must still help students progress toward a learning objective. And I really appreciate QM for this. In my experience, this topic is so often missing from our conversations about online learning. When we talk about the advantages of online learning, we talk about the convenience and flexibility in terms of scheduling. Without a set class time in which students have to be physically present in a course, us learners are able to engage with the course materials at our own pace when it fits into our own schedules. And while this is true, there is flexibility in online learning in terms of how information is communicated and how understanding is assessed. Online learning does not have to rely exclusively on independent readings, on exams or multiple choice exams or discussion board posts. In fact, I think that incorporating a variety of instructional materials and learning activities, I believe that students like me respond more positively to online courses. And I am not alone in this belief. In a study of students' perceptions of online learning in higher education, the majority of research participants agreed. Online learning offers variety that supports instructional strategies that provide better learning outcomes for students. These surveyed students recognize that online learning lends itself to active and multimodal learning, that it provides instructors with the ability to infuse variety for the benefit of student learning. Knowing this, that students appreciate diversity and appreciate the use of different learning activities, I encourage you to take the opportunity when you leave here today to reflect on your own practices. Ask yourself, how much of my course is text-based? Is my coursework primarily discussion posts or papers? As I can attest to how repetitive this can be, and I'm sure that that grading all that written coursework is very time-consuming. Instead of discussion board posts, I encourage you to ask your students to record themselves giving a presentation. Instead of writing a paper, host a collaborate session. I am confident that by using these diverse learning strategies, you can improve student learning in this way. And I know those gathered today can really make these changes in online education. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie. And Dr. Danielle Budzik will present to us her personal narrative from her role in institutional QM leadership at Cuyahoga Community College.
All right, when Sarah asked me to give some remarks, she said something about sharing about my long-standing relationship with QM. And I couldn't help but get the concept of a relationship out of my mind. So I want to tell you a little bit about my relationship with QM. So we started our first hot date in July of 2009. I went through the APP QMR, I went through the peer reviewer certification. And like many of you in this room, I'm sure you thought, what does 85% really mean? I kept pondering, and I'm like, well, is that my gut 85%? What is 85%? And I remember also taking away one key thing that I think is really, really important in my personal life and also in my QM life. I'm actually not always right. The rubric is what is right. So my personal preferences for how I design courses and how I conduct training may be different than Steve's or Sarah's or someone else. And it doesn't matter. What matters is what the rubric says. And you can meet the rubric standards in many, many different ways. So next up, we progressed. We went on a second date. Who holds hands on dates anymore, really? Across the table. But what I learned from training across the QM consortium is we may all be very, very different, but we are all very, very the same. We struggle with funding. We struggle with faculty engagement. We struggle with how we're going to sustain this. We struggle with staffing resources. Everyone around this room has something for you to learn. And so what I would encourage you is spend the time today networking with one another as much as getting what you're getting out of the individual sessions. So next up, my first course review that I participated in as a peer reviewer. How many have done a course as a peer reviewer? Was it more work than you thought the first time you did it? Absolutely. I remember going through each standard and trying to see where's the evidence in the course? How am I going to be able to provide some feedback? And the lesson learned from my first QM review is they obviously take more time than you probably think they're going to take. And also, as with any good relationship, what you're saying is just as important as how you say it. When you're crafting those recommendations and feedback to your peers, you and I could be saying the same exact thing, but if you don't show the sensitivity to the work your colleagues and your peers have done, they're not going to receive the message. Anybody have this happen in a relationship at home? All the time. So next up, we moved in together. QM and I, we're getting hot and heavy. This debate is the debate in every household across America where a man and woman are living together. I have prepped many faculty to prepare their course for QM reviews, and it starts with, Patty, I loved your documentation. I think we're going to try to start using that, at least at West Shore campus. But it starts with that conversation with a faculty member, and when you move in together, you know you may not be on the same page about some things, and if you've ever prepped a faculty member for a QM review, or if you've ever been a faculty member on a QM review, you know sometimes coming together requires bringing different perspectives to help get that course to standard. I remember my first review prepping a faculty member. He kept saying, I don't want to do this. I don't understand why this standard, I don't get it, I don't get the background. And I could pull up the QM research and I can explain it and I could pull up the research. And I remember getting to the point where I just had to say, if you want your course to meet QM standards, you have to do this. Afterward, when he ran that course again, he finally understood it, finally sunk into him. And so the rubric is right, and in every household in America, the woman is right. You must put down the toilet seat. So the lesson learned here is faculty are really busy, and it requires some negotiation, some discussion to be able to get that course to standard. So next up, we got hitched. The wedding was great. Planning weddings easy. We love each other. Marriage, hard work. My first day as a director in the online learning department, so excited, got my new job, got a director role, phone rings. It's the faculty union chairperson. Calls me to tell me that there's been a problem that I had nothing to do with. It was the administration before me. And I had to work with him through that solution. Fortunately, it prevented actually a formal faculty grievance, but it was a learning experience for me. I think it was a learning experience for that faculty union person because these issues arose before he even stepped into that role. And so my lesson here is that it requires constant engagement with your faculty, but you may really have to rehash some of those conversations, administration to faculty, as people change roles, as new people come in. And it's not a one-time thing. It needs to be ongoing throughout the time that you're implementing QM at your institution. So next up, I had a baby with QM. I actually wrote my dissertation on QM and the use of the rubric and how it impacted faculty perceptions of their own course quality and their willingness to adopt QM. I wasn't surprised by the findings that most faculty, when they learned about the rubric for the first time, they had a lower perception of their course quality than they did before they came into that training. But what I also found was with the training, with support, with institutional processes, they were more than willing to start working towards adopting those standards in their training or in their own courses. So next up, we had a second baby. Anybody have a second child in the room, or a third child, or a fourth or a fifth child? Do you pay as much attention to the second, third, fourth, or fifth as you may have with the first? I have pictures of my first child, tons of them. My second child, Christmas, her first Christmas, I have her foot. That is the only picture I have of her from that Christmas. That's how I feel some days as a dean. It's important. I want faculty to be doing this work, but guess what? There's a fire burning. We have placement testing issues. We have issues with this, that, and the other. So my advice here is don't let it fall to the back burner. Try to keep it front and center. Keep your team up to speed. Delegate, leverage those around you. So my time is almost over. I have a very happy life with QM. My relationship with QM lasted longer than my own marriage, but I'm pretty sure it's going to last the rest of my life. So that's it.
Thank you, Danielle. I don't think I can top that level of entertainment. But one thing I'll attempt to do is to kind of bring together the different personal narratives that we heard, and I would overlay my own experience. So, like I said earlier this morning, I came to CSU in 2002 as a faculty member in the College of Education. And I was teaching methods of teaching, classroom management, curriculum theory, and student assessment. And about 3 years into my tenure at CSU, I was asked to do an assessment because I had done program evaluation in my doctoral program in Iowa. So I was asked to join teams of peers across campus to conduct a review of annual assessment of student learning outcomes report, and the big assessment world. And I bring that up because there are connections to QM. So the first time I did it, the experience opened up my eyes to a world outside my classroom, outside my discipline, and also outside my department, because I could see the moving parts of the puzzle that the university is. So I could see how students who happen to be coming to my class come from somewhere, they learn something, they develop some skills that they try to refine when they come to my class. And then in turn, what I do in my class impacts how well they can perform once they move from my class to whatever they have to do next, or eventually into the workforce. So the sudden realization that I am one piece in a big puzzle was pretty humbling. Like I said earlier, again, this morning, about 0506, there was a big push for CSU to invest more in online instruction. So we, as a faculty member, I was given a stipend, which I was very thankful for, to develop an online equivalent of a section of a class that was required of students to graduate with a teaching license. And then in that instance, I was also introduced to standards. Later on, I was introduced to QM. And that was a second episode of a sudden realization that how I had taught, and I connect to Lizzie's comments about the student perspective, how I teach had been driven, how I taught had been driven by my perspective on my own discipline and my class and how well I perform so that I can get tenured and then I can publish about what I do and all of that. But out of all of that equation, what was missing was the student perspective. And having the QM guidelines really helped me structure my thinking around how I could move pieces and parts of my class in a way that makes sense to someone else. And that someone else, their performance depends on how well I structure my curriculum and also how I communicate it. So that's the story related to my experience as a faculty member. But as a department chair and then in central administration now, because I work with the e-learning team, and Karen and I have been trying to work with the deans across campus to promote more online instruction in the various colleges. So that also ties to research interests that I've developed over the years that have to do with how QM, that focuses on design, could support an investigation of one's emerging pedagogy and how it changes. What do we have? We may think that we're great teachers, but the face-to-face pedagogy has things in common with online pedagogy, but there are also significant differences, and we have to give it time and resources and patience and find support so that we can investigate how we are when we transfer from face-to-face to online and back to face-to-face. And finally, stemming from Garrison's community of inquiry, I became aware of the importance of teaching presence, social presence, and cognitive presence, and how we can bring those together on a solid foundation provided by QM in terms of design. But when the rubber meets the road and it's my class and it's the well-being of my students, what does that mean? And how do I grow professionally in a way that allows me to be flexible, student-centered, and also take leadership in terms of conversations across campus about what works about online instruction, but also what might not work and why that is the case. We also have to talk about state leadership. So I'm thankful for Sheila's work. Across the country, as you know, online instruction is still not considered uniformly as on par as with face-to-face instruction. We have to address that through thorough analyses of what we do and how we do it, and why we do it. So elevate the conversation about online instruction in a way that positions us as universities that are struggling financially because of decreasing state support in a way that validates what we do, and we attract students from all corners of the state or the country or the world in a way that also speaks to the quality of what we have to offer. So let's see. And in terms of the other narratives, yes, I think allowing faculty to voice their experiences really brings a lot of wealth to the narrative of online instruction in a way that could not be done any other way. So the more we engage faculty in talking about what they like and what they don't like about QM even or online instruction, the same applies to students. The same applies to administrators, because we also have to juggle a number of hats just to make things work. And we're in this together. I mean, we're here to learn from each other, and I'm hoping that the conversations in the afternoon would put us forward more so than we were a day ago. Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you all found something unique and identifiable with each of our speakers today. Please join me in one more round of applause for each of their effort and their stories they shared with us today. I'm going to turn the focus on you for just a minute again. That card that you stuck back in your folder, the right side of the card says speakers. I'm going to give you just a couple minutes to jot down some notes. It could be something that resonated with you from one of the speakers that we heard from today at lunch. Maybe it's something that really stuck with you from one of the breakout sessions that you attended this morning. But I'd like you to take just a couple moments to make some notes of anything that really resonated or you personally identified with, or something that you would want to kind of hang on to that thought that we'll come back to later in the day. So I'm going to let you go. So just before everyone leaves the room, we have one more item of business. I wanted to let our speakers off the stage. So please don't run away yet. We have just one more item.
All right. Hello, everyone. We have some business to attend to as a consortium, so before you move on to the next sessions or take a break, we really just wanted to always highlight the fact that, again, this is a 100% volunteer organization, and as a result, we wanted to really take the time to thank someone who's no longer on the executive team, but it was for many, 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 many years. And this is Connie Molnar from Bowling Green State University. And we really wanted just to express our appreciation, and we actually have an award of recognition for you for all of your dedicated years of service to the QM Ohio Consortium. If you'd like to come up, Connie, thank you. You must now give a 15-minute speech. There we go.
I am the worst impromptu speech giver, so this, luckily for you, this will be very short. This is one of the finest groups I've ever had the honor to work with. I'm so honored to work with all of you. I think you're all rock stars. I've been honored to work with QM leadership, both past and present, and I'm just so thankful I've had the opportunity. It's honestly changed my life, so thank you so much. This means so much to me that you would recognize me. I think you're all rock stars. So thank you for all you do. And like I said, I'm not a good impromptu speech giver, but please know I'm thrilled. This means so much and totally unexpected. So, thank you.
Now you get the big hugs. There we go. Thank you. Absolutely. No, it's our pleasure. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so now you're free to run off to your next session, which begins at 1:10 p.m., and then we'll convene back here a little bit after 2 o'clock. So welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed your breakout sessions both this morning and this afternoon. We're going to go ahead and move on with our program just so we can try to get you out of here in good time and before any kind of downtown traffic. So we want to, that's definitely on our radar for you today. Before we leave, we obviously have a little bit of business to come back to with our cards that we've been talking about all day. I think a lot of times when we attend these kinds of conferences or events, you meet great people, you have great ideas, you might think, oh, that's such a good thing, I should remember that. Or you may have a really nice hallway conversation with someone, but then we go back to work, and what happens? Right, everything else happens, right? So we don't make note of it, we don't come back to it, just life moves on. So the idea of these cards really was just simply to give you an opportunity to take a couple minutes while you're here, to have some of that reflective time, but also as a challenge to you that when you leave here. So when we talked about the front side of the card was your objective for the day. So I'm going to ask you, did you meet your objective? Did anybody feel like you did? Are some people still in progress? Kind of, sort of? Yeah. Okay. So the back side of the card is to talk about your takeaways from the day. My challenge to you is that to take this home and stick it somewhere visible. Put it on your desktop. Put it on your shelf, your bookshelf next to your desk. The idea being that if you can relate whatever takeaway is meaningful to you. So if it's something about your objective for the day, maybe it was a great conversation or an idea you want to come back to later on in time. Maybe it's a bigger goal you're trying to chip away at. Like Danielle talked about at the end, like don't let things go to the back burner. Keep it in that relationship, keep it going. So I think we all can absolutely identify something that's that important thing that is sort of on the back burner. We don't want to let it go of completely, but we need to keep it in our working realm. So whatever's relevant to you, I challenge you to write something on this takeaway side of the card. And then when you go home, stick it up somewhere in your office or at home, someplace meaningful. So it'll be that just visual reminder, whether it's a core priority or it's a goal, whatever might be most meaningful to you. So we're going to play some music, and I'm going to give you just a couple minutes to think about it. And then I'm going to make you report out. I'm teasing, I won't. Jacob, can you put the challenges slide up again? If this is helpful, this is some of the challenges we talked about this morning. This was the word cloud we created earlier. So if you need some ideas to think about what might be helpful to put on your card for yourself, maybe it's something related to one of your challenges that you were facing or thinking about when we started out the day. Or maybe it's a completely new idea since then. So I'll give you just a few minutes, and then we'll circle back, and we have some actually really fun activities and some really great prizes. So I'm glad you guys stayed. Okay, we'll talk more soon. Okay, I don't want to totally lose you. So tuck that card somewhere handy that you can put it up on your desk when you get back home. And we're going to transition into some of the more fun pieces of the day. So my colleague Jacob Bowman is going to come up and lead our game and activity, of which I know you will all be very excited to participate in.
All right, everyone, welcome to the exciting game that we have for you today. We played Kahoot last year. I believe this is the third year in a row. I was part of the winning team last year, so congratulations to me. One of you is going to be the winner this year, and we have a very special prize for you that I have hidden right here. Look at this magnificent trophy that you will be bringing home if you win our game today. It is made of 24-karat gold plastic. It is full of 100 grand Nestle candy bars. It's a hot prize, so I really would like you all to play at the highest level to make sure you get to bring this home. So to play, there is an app that you need to download on your phone. Everyone sitting at the tables, you will be a team with whatever table you're sitting at. So one person at your table needs to have the Kahoot app downloaded. Then, if you press that special little button at the bottom with the triangle, the diamond, is that a circle and a square? If you press that and enter the game pin 236474, the game pin is 236474. If you enter that, you'll be in the Kahoot, and we'll get this show on the road. So I'll give you a minute to get the apps downloaded, get your team set up, and Glenn, if you want to switch over to the Kahoot page. Look at that, we already got teams. You guys are ready. I'm excited. I see tacos as a team, and that was one of our concerns, or one of the things we wanted to take away from today, so I'm glad that tacos has shown up. This is good. The blue meanies, I also saw blue as a takeaway, so I'm glad the blue meanies are here as well. Cleveland, hopefully that's not from my department, because we made this Kahoot, and we would be cheating if that's our team. So please, no cheaters. Unfortunately, Karen's Cuties cannot repeat this year. Cannot repeat. The aligners, oh wow, we got so many teams. This is very exciting. I'm excited. Oh my. Table 13, table 10, dynamic duo. We have a duo out there. If they win, it's only 2 people, and some of you have like 4 or 5 at your tables, so you should be ashamed of yourselves. Because the dynamic duo is going to run away with 2 people in this magnificent trophy. I think it stopped jumping. Oh, no, we got some names being added. 25 teams. I think we got, is anyone else still trying to get in? Raise your hand if you're still trying to get in. You guys are ready? Okay. I believe we can go ahead and smash that start button. Please keep in mind that if you answer quickly, you get more points. So you want to be swift with your responses, and you'll have a better chance of bringing home this beautiful, beautiful trophy. There are prizes for the people that get second and third, okay? So let's go ahead and start. Kahoot, here we go. Are you ready? We're getting started. Our first question, when was the QM Ohio Consortium established? Went up to 1,000 points for the fastest answer. Here we go. We got him coming in. And answer. We got 10 in. You got 12 seconds to discuss. 2 more teams. Got to get that answer in. 4 seconds, 3, 2. All right, we got 9 correct answers. That's a low percentage, but that's okay. I'm glad that we got 9 on the board. Let's check the standings. Oh, awesome KSU team. I see the dynamic duo's not on the top, so that makes me sad, but that's okay. Here we go. Let's go on to the next question. The largest performance arts center in the United States is, if everyone can see those, the Cedarhurst Center for Arts. I'm having trouble at this angle, so I understand if you are. The Playhouse Square in Cleveland, Ohio, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona, or the Lincoln Center in New York City. We need one more response. That's good. I see that we tricked you by putting Cleveland in there. It is not Cleveland, it is New York, so congratulations to the 10 teams that said New York. Stranger! I'm suddenly uncomfortable by who's leading this game, but that's okay. I see a Tri-CJ and the awesome KSU team. You weren't fast enough, but you're still in the top 3. So let's go on to the next question. Next year's QM annual member meeting will be held at, there is not a hint in the middle of your tables, Ohio State, Ohio University, University of Northwestern Ohio, or Ashland. Please look at the center of your tables. If you get this wrong, I will be sad. 2 more teams. I would like to see the dynamic duo jump into the top 5 here. 1 more. There we go. 22. Oh, my. I'm ashamed of 5 of you. Okay. Let's check the leaderboard. Stranger still in first. Taking a commanding lead. I think it was at 500 points. I'm still at a weird angle, so I can't see it exactly. Tri-CJ and the College On. That is, I'm not sure what that means, but you're in 3rd place. Okay, next. What is the name of the Cincinnati Marathon? This is an exciting one. Is it Only Fools Run at Midnight? Is it the Krispy Kreme Challenge Marathon, the Flying Pig Marathon, or Boring Marathon? Throwing our friends from Cincinnati a bone here, so hopefully you guys have run a marathon in Cincinnati. There we go. Wow, a lot of people got that one. No one picked the Boring Marathon. It is a real marathon, as it is the Krispy Kreme one. That is real. Okay, the leader, Stranger, is still really running away with it. Tri-CJ, the College On, Live Wires, and the Aligners. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Dayton is known as the Charms. I heard someone yell the answer out. Let's try to reduce the volume of our answers. We have the Charm City, the Gem City, the Peace Capital, that sounds nice, and the City of Gardens. 6 more teams. Let's see how Stranger fares here. Will they hold on to their lead? All right, we got 9 getting to Gem City. Stranger holding on to the lead. I think they're over 1,000 points on the lead here. The Live Wires have moved into second, and an awesome KSU team is going back up. Students First taking into the top 5. Good for you guys. Let's go on to Kent State school colors are. If you're from Kent State, you should probably get this one. There's actually a Kent State team that's third. So is it orange and brown, blue and gold, purple and gray, or green and yellow? 25 teams. One more. There we go. See how well we know. Oh, hey. Okay. A lot of people got that one. Let's see if KSU got fouled. Oh, Stranger, my. I wonder if they're from Kent State. They're really holding on to that lead. The dynamic duo has jumped into the top 3. And Students First at second. Okay, let's go on to the next question. University of Findlay school colors are, purple and gray, orange and black, green and yellow, or blue and gold. I heard a lot of ahs of people thinking about this one, so might confuse you a bit more. I literally cannot see. One more response, please. 3 seconds. All right. Got some blood for Findlay there. We got 12 correct answers. Stranger not letting go of this lead. They're really holding on. I'm very proud of Tacos for jumping all the way up to third. Is that storyboards? Wow, good. That's nice. Okay, into second. So we got some real changing up here. So let's go ahead and go on to the next question. Who was the first governor of Ohio? I'm not going to be able to say some of these names. Alan Trimble, I can't even see, Thomas Kirker, Othniel Looker, and Edward Tiffin. Or is that Locker? I can't. Is that a C or no, Sam? Looker. It is Looker. I can confirm that. All right. Yeah, we got a lot of people getting that one. You guys are some, man. I don't know if Stranger's going to let this one go. Stranger. Storyboard. I keep with Strangers as winning. Okay, let's go. Next question. What is the state food of Ohio? I didn't know this one until we made this. Donut, peach, tomato, or sweet corn? Oh, we got a lot of answers coming in. I guarantee that Strangers answered already. Two more, looking for 2 more teams here. There we go. And, we have only 6 tomatoes. A lot of people thought it was sweet corn, taking Ohio for face value. Let's hit next. Stranger taking the lead. Storyboard still up there. Tacos in third. Stranger might be cheating, I'm being told. I have some intel here that Stranger's cheating. I hope that's not true. I think it's just a ruse in the front, though. Let's go to the next question. The first professional baseball team was the Cleveland Spiders, the Chicago Cubs, the Cincinnati Reds, or the New York Yankees. There we go. Here we go. 6 more teams. All right, Cincinnati Reds. Students First is heating up. Look at that flame. A streak of 3, but they can't. Oh, Stranger falling down the rink. We got a big change in the standings here. So it looks like Stranger cheated a little bit less on that one. But Storyboards is in first, Tacos in third. So let's go to the next question. How many presidents were born in Ohio? 6, 7, 4, or 2? Oh, man, we got people quick to answer that one. We have 14 responses. 20, 22. Two more teams. All right. 15 correct responses of 7 is a lot of precedents. Storyboards holding on to that lead. Stranger trying to crawl back to the top here with Tacos really holding on to third pretty strong. It is pretty consistent from Tacos here. So let's go on to the next question. Where is Washington State Community College located? Lancaster, Marietta, Washington Courthouse, or Xenia? I always get very excited when I drive by the Xenia sign. It's such a powerful name. Let's see, we got one more team holding on, really thinking about it. All right. Marietta, well done. I did not know that until we made this. I'm sorry, Washington State Community College. Okay, storyboards really hanging on the lead here. Tacos still very consistent at third. Stranger needs to cheat a little bit better. And students first. And is that carb crash? Is that a comment on these delicious pretzels? Because this is your fault for eating too many. Okay, next. Which of the following was not a round table topic? Oh, we're getting on topic for today. Hopefully you guys can read those because I don't know if I'm going to get these all in before you guys get 26 responses in. Hint, you can look at your programs to find the answer. If you have your nifty program, you can cheat. I'm encouraging cheating on this one. 4 more teams. Just get it in. Oh, 2 teams did not respond, but oh, well done. Well done. Hopefully a lot of people attended those. Some hot topics today. Let's go to the next. Oh, Stranger is heating up, but still not quite in first place with storyboards holding onto the lead and Tacos in third. Carb Crash, not crashing too hard because they're still hanging in the top 5 here. So let's go on to the next question. I don't know how many we have left. We have 7 left. What standard ensures that the requirements for learner interaction are clearly stated? Wow, it got surprisingly quiet. 5.4, 3.1, 2.4, or 5.3? There are 2 5-point standards in there, so I wonder if it's one of those. All right, let's see what's going on here. 11 got it correct. A few of you did not listen to my hint about the 5-point standard, but that's okay. Let's go on to the next. Let's see that leaderboard, Glenn. Oh, storyboards. Nothing really changing up here, except for Carb Crash is starting to turn those carbs into inertia and riding closer to the top. Let's go next. Standard 8.5 is worth how many points? Only 3 choices for this one. Is it 1, 2, or 3? Oh, man. 10 quick responses. One more team. I feel like one team has quit playing. Okay, no, they have not. All right. Well done. We know our standards. 20 teams. Storyboards holding on to the lead, though. Tacos passing Stranger. You're really dropping the ball. Should cheat a little bit harder in the beginning. Carb Crash still hanging on the 4th with students 1st and 5th. Let's go. We got 4 more questions, I believe. Who is this man? It's a confusing question now, but there's a picture. Who is that man? Is he Mike DeWine? He is not a mayor. Is he John Kasich? Is he Laramie Jacobs? Okay, we got it. We got Mike DeWine. It was not Laramie Jacobs. I'm very proud of who said Laramie Jacobs, though. Tacos really creeping up here to first place. Storyboards and first. Stranger really falling down. You're kind of disappointing me. Awesome KSU team doing well, coming back into the top 5. Okay. How many people are on the QM Ohio Executive Board? Is it 15, 16, 13, 1? It is an oligarchy. One more response. See how many people picked oligarchy. None. But 10 of you got it right. I believe we added a new executive member this year, which is why this question was in here. So we're up to 16. Let's see the standings here. Storyboard still in first. Tacos still they're getting closer. We got a little spread there, so there's still some opportunity for you to take home 24 carats of plastic gold. Okay, next. What's the name of the building we are in? Is it the Wolstein Center, the Einstein Center, the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, or the Wolfenstein Center? Two of those names are very similar. Someone said Wolfenstein. That's okay. That's all right. Tacos taking over the lead. What a charge to the top. Tacos really persistent. They answered earlier with the for the word cloud, and now they're number one in our hearts. So let's go next. I think we have 2 more questions left. Storyboards can still get the lead back. Who is not from Ohio? Is it Salvatore Diametti, Patricia Heaton, Steven Spielberg, or Guy Fieri? I will say that Salvatore is in the audience. So triangle is not the correct answer. Five of you still picked it. Proud of you. Okay, Guy Fieri is correct. Tacos, they knew that one. They knew who Guy Fieri was. They probably know where he's born. Never mind. Tacos did not get that, but they had such a commanding lead that they are still in first. Storyboards in second. Stranger coming back into the top 3 here. So here we go. Last question. This is for everything. Which of these towns is not in Ohio? Is it Wow, it's so quiet. You guys are really going for gold here. Renville, Rome, Melrose, or is that Parker? Parker. We got 10 teams in. This is for a trophy stuffed full of 100 grand bars and some medals. The trophy does say champions on it. That's also exciting. All right, Parker was the correct response. We got 7 correct responses. Let's see who the final leaderboard is. Tacos! Well done. Well done. Please someone come collect their prize. Tacos. There they are. I know who said tacos in the morning now. And I need storyboards. There's a prize for you as well, and there's a prize for stranger. You're not about to be a stranger anymore. Thank you for playing. Here you go. Enjoy your treats. You are welcome. We are going to move on to the raffle here in a moment, which I believe will be run by the one and only Sarah Rutland. Are you doing the raffle? Okay.
Okay, so now the moment you've all been waiting for is all these raffle prizes that you want to win and take home. So the first item I'm going to draw a number for is for the Cleveland Urban Winery. It's a wine tasting for 2, if you did or did not put your name in the hat. So I'm going to pick one at random. Should I make somebody else pick? No? Okay. You're such trusting people. Roger Davis. Are you still here, Roger? Hey, it's your lucky day. So if you come over to Lizzie, she'll give you your prize. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe just so we know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So next we have the Mally's chocolate pretzels. They were donated courtesy of Leanne Krosnick. She was very generous. Gave us some Mally's chocolate. So I'm going to pick a number. I'm going to read the number because it's more suspenseful, I was told. 3, 3, 3, 6, $333,690. Lacey will give you your chocolates. Oh, so this is the book that we had out there on the table, The Excellent Online Teaching. It's a very brief book, but it's actually really good. We enjoy it ourselves. So, 333950. We got a winner in the back. Excellent Online Teaching. We have a set of Titleist Pro V1 golf balls. Is anybody a golfer in the room? It's almost golf season. Almost, right? Right. Okay, so 333. How many threes was that so far? Let me start over. 333306. Woo! Come on down. Now we have Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tickets for 2. The Rock Hall was very generous with us. Get one out here. 333835. Nancy, yay! Come on down. Oh, I just dropped it back in there. Am I not supposed to? Okay. Now, for all of you other golf winners who didn't win the first one, we have a set of Callaway golf balls. Okay. 333383. Yeah, that's funny. Yay! Next, we have a family 4-pack to the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. $333,559. All right. Oh, no. If no one else. Oh, I heard people talking about this out in the lobby and saying how good it was. Campbell's Specialty Popcorn. If you didn't put your ticket in here, you might regret it because it is really good. 333327. Thank you. Next, there's a lot of people in here. You all must know how good Mitchell's ice cream is. Next, we have a gift card for Mitchell's ice cream. And 333316. This is for the bike rider pack, which is courtesy of Bike Cleveland. Let me get it. 333379. Yay! Oh, is that like a hat? Next, we have a donation from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They gave us a pack. Not tickets to a game, but it was a pack of stuff. 333149. All right. This is a really good one. We have a lot of tickets in here, so I'm going to shuffle them really nice and make this good and fair. These are 2 lunch cruise tickets to the Nautica Cruise Line, Nautica Queen. It's a great way to see the city and enjoy some good food at the same time. So I have 334020. We got a winner? All right. There's not as many Browns fans. I'm disappointed, you guys. We have a Browns gift bag with just a few things. So let me pick the right person for this one. Okay, 333400. Are you regretting putting your name in your ticket in this bag? Oh, there is a name on the back. I Chun Sai. We now have an iTunes gift card. 333384. Hey, Wendy won. Great. Is this the last one, or how much more? One more. After this? Yeah, and then the mystery. Okay. Okay. This is also a nice one. We have, I think it was 2 sets of passes to the African Safari Adventure in Sandusky, which is near Cedar Point. Kind of a neat place. So, 333018. Any takers? 333018. No takers? I'm going to draw another name, another ticket. This might be your lucky day, folks. Three, 4028. All right.
So that's the last one before the mystery.
Oh. This is a hand-painted Cleveland plate donated to us by Colonial Coin and Jewelry for your Cleveland memorabilia. Ooh, I dropped it. 333165. Hey! Okay. Our last and final item was our mystery box, which we're all interested to see what's in there. There's a lot in here, so let's pick one of these. 333857. 333857. No takers? It's you! All right, we got a winner. Anything else? All right, that was all of them. So we're all set for that. Yeah, do you want to open it and tell us what's in it? You can come up here. Do you want to come up here? There's probably so many things, right?
Right. All right, let's see. I have a clothespin and a magnifying glass. It looks like I have bubblegum cigars. It is a girl. Maybe a whistle. I'm afraid to open up the pouch. I have a deck of cards, mini deck of cards. You guys are envious, right? Like I'm playing games on the way home. I have the Promised Dark Chocolate that I will probably throw at one of my cohorts on the ride home to keep them happy. See, now it's so full of stuff that now I'm trying to find. I have batteries, and I'm afraid to now open the rest of the things that are in here. I have buttons that say I liked Cleveland before it was cool. I have a penny, an old 1-cent penny, a wheat penny. Who put an Indian head? Who did you put this together? An Indian head penny. And there's the big box. Let me see what's in here. My stuff is all over the place. This is like Christmas Day at my house when we do the elephant Christmas trade. Oh, I have eyeglass cleaner. I have stamps. There is a whole montage of wonderful miniature master lock. Anybody that would like to look in this box is welcome to do so. Thank you, QM, for my mystery box. I will not be sharing my bubblegum cigars on the way home. Just an FYI to my colleagues that are with me. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, we'll see you next year in Ashland. Mark your calendars for Thursday, April 30th, 2020. Thursday, April 30th. We will see you again in Ashland. Thanks.